like and subscribe to Serious and Silliness. Get on that. I'm subscribed. So you got to.
Thank God. Good. I'm glad you are.
I got you.
All right. For the second night in a row, I have another IFBB figure pro. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. I got Michele Frankel. What's happening, Michele? How you doing?
Hi. What's up? How are you doing?
I'm doing good. So we were talking right before this. We were trying to figure out how we know each other because we saw each other Saturday and we met eyes and both of us like, I know that person. But
can't figure it out.
Nope,
but we know each other.
Yeah.
We're somehow connected.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know how it works, but you know what it is? Like you see so many people at the gym, you see so many people like when I used to expedite or when I used to compete, and you just run into people. And some people are friendly, some people aren't. And you are definitely one of the nicer, friendlier people.
Thank you.
You are usually, well, usually you're, I'm going to give you an indirect compliment right now. There's usually a direct correlation with a woman's personality and what class she competes with in bodybuilding. And figure usually is not it's like one notch up from bikini. You really want to you really want to slit your wrists. By the time you get to women's bodybuilding, you're okay. I mean, they're fine.
I like people, like I always know the feeling like how it feels to be welcomed and invited somewhere and to feel like safe and secure around people. And I always want to make other people feel that way. Like I want them to feel comfortable hanging around me. I want them to know like I got their back. Like even backstage when we coach shows, we go with our group of Revolutionize athletes, but we're not cliquey people. I'm very inviting to people who even work with other coaches, and the coaches ask us for help. And if a coach isn't there and somebody's new to the sport, they're like, hey, can you help me with this? Absolutely. Like I want people to know that they can come to me with any questions or anything that they need backstage, because it could get a little crazy back there, you know?
Oh yeah, especially with some of the bigger shows. Oh my God. When you go to like the Atlantic States or the Mets, do they still call it the Mets?
The Metropolitans. Yeah.
Yeah. When you go backstage with that, oh my God, you're lucky you have room to breathe. It's unbelievable.
It gets especially for newer athletes, it can be very intimidating, and they're already very, very nervous. So like, I just want to be there to help people. That's what I'm all about.
Right. We're going to have fun because I got questions popping in my head already.
I'm ready.
But the first thing I'm going to say is I've had this epiphany, if you will, this experience, I guess you could say. It has nothing to do with bodybuilding or fitness or anything like that. When a woman is very warm and comfortable and compassionate and inviting, usually her home is the same way.
Yes.
Is that
I'm
accurate?
very, very big on that. Like, and that's how I was raised. And I just want that to continue in my life forever. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then usually if you have a girl that like, has too much plastic surgery, her house is like a museum.
Is that the affiliation? Like you have surgery, so your house is a museum.
Yeah, it's like you walk like
might be a lot of cool things to see in that house. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. Like a Picasso that you can't touch it. You can't sit on anything, and it's like Jesus Christ. If I touch it, it's gonna break.
Look, don't touch, man. Yeah, I will admire.
Yeah. All right. So, how did you start in figure?
Okay. So rewind about a decade now. So 10 years. So 2012. I'm going to go like way back. So I was in a relationship back then with a very controlling person. And I had wanted to do this for a long time. I followed Aaron Stern and Nicole Wilkins back when figure was like the one piece still. Well, Aaron Stern when there was one
back piece. When figure was when every girl wanted to do figure.
Yeah. Actually, I was like, that is the physique that like I want to attain. I want to do that. I want to compete.
Well, that's another thing. We'll get to that, how it's
for sure. We
kind of like falling.
A lot of layers to all these onions. We're gonna
feel.
So don't you dare do this. No. That was the situation. I was like, all right, okay. And then very, very long story short, I'm gonna save you a lot of time.
That's all right.
I, in a blink of an eye, changed my whole life within 1 second. I was like, I can't do this anymore. I found out some really, really awful stuff that was going on in that chapter of my life. And I was like, I'm out. And I'm not even kidding. It was that. And I woke up the next day, got away from all of that. And I was like, I am going to pursue this because it has been nagging at me for years. And I did. So I entered my first figure competition in 2013. It was the Mid-Atlantic Natural Classic, and I won the overall there. And I was like, okay, maybe I got something here, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
You know right away. I was talking to Nicole last night, and Nicole turned pro within one show. She did
awesome. That's awesome.
She did one NPC show, and then she did Team Universe in one. You know right away. And again, I hate to be a Debbie Downer, but there's a lot of people in this world that are having pipe dreams.
Yeah.
And you could look at them and go, you might want to take up something else, man. And then there are people like yourself where it's like you do one show, you win the overall. It's like, all right, she needs to be on stage.
There's something there. It just needs to be worked on.
Yeah. Okay. So go ahead, continue.
Yeah. So I did that. And that was actually us entering into when we opened up Revolutionize Nutrition, which is my nutritional counseling company. Mm-hmm. And we wanted to take the flexible nutrition approach, which is what I practice, and apply it to everyday people. So we did. And between me competing and running the business, everything was just growing. And I kept doing shows and winning shows, won the Miss New Jersey in 2016 at the New Jersey State Championships. Mm-hmm. And I had attempted Universe 3 times. It was on my 3rd attempt that I did go pro. It was a little bit slow for me. I had always been a natural athlete. So I was really just working with my genetics and my training and my nutrition, just my work ethic. I didn't have anything to help me along the way.
Right.
And so I did my first Universe show in 2014, and I did not place well, but I walked off stage and my husband proposed to me backstage. So I knew I wasn't winning the show, and I was like, all right, I just want to hit a bicep flex on stage. So I hit my bicep flex on stage, which if you know in figure, you're not supposed to do that.
That's right.
Got off stage. I go to my husband, my now husband, I go, Randy, did you see my bicep flex? And he was like, hold on. And I thought he was going to yell at me. I was like, what did I do wrong? And he gets down on his knee in front of thousands of people and he proposes to me. And nice. I was carb depleted and dehydrated. And I was just saying yes.
And you thought you were crying, but no tears were coming out.
I was like, oh. Yeah. So
that's a nice story, actually.
Yeah, my friends, my family, everybody was there with signs. I was completely floored, had no idea that was happening. Mm-hmm. Then I did another attempt, almost got dead last the next year in 2015. And 2015 was a very, very bad year for me for personal family reasons. I was helping somebody that was dealing with addiction issues and mental illness. And that was very, very hard to work with.
Was a family member?
Yeah, okay. It was very, very hard. So that was a tough year for me. And then 2017, went back to Universe. I didn't do a tune-up show. I was like, yo, no, I'm all in. Like, let's just go to Universe. Did it, earned my pro card there. And it was a very triumphant moment. So I competed at the New York Pro, the Dallas Pro. I had to take time off after that due to, again, personal issues in the family. Then COVID happened. Yeah.
Family always comes first, and that's another thing. That's another thing about this world that we're in. A lot of people don't have balance, and family
very extreme.
Yeah, it is, and family must always come first. You know, if you don't have family, you don't have anything. You know, so when people say I'm not going to do unless you are an elite athlete,
sure,
and this is how you make a living, that's a different story, right? But to me, it is perfectly excusable when you need to work things out within your family to skip a show or skip a year or two. It's always going to be there,
be made, and there's different degrees of that. So I was able to still compete while helping this person out, but there were certain times where the help that was required was far too much to juggle both. So those were the years that I was like, I need to take a step back and help. So a lot, like you said, a lot of people don't have that balance. It's very extreme and they kind of get very I don't want to use the wrong words, but I knew when I needed to step back to be there for somebody else in that matter. And then last year I made my comeback, dust the cobwebs off. I mean, I just wanted to have a good time. So like, if you look at my physique last year, it wasn't anything great, but I had an absolute blast, no pressure. And that's all I wanted last year, just dust the cobwebs off and have a good time.
What show did you do last year?
It was the IFBB Naturals.
Really? I didn't even know they had that. Okay.
Yeah, it's new. And I wanted to go on stage. I wasn't taking anything. So I'm like, let's go have some fun, you know?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And if that's the direction that you're going, and I think a lot of girls, and you probably have more experience with this, I think a lot of girls don't know what they're getting into.
Oh God, no. No.
and
oh God, no.
And then they don't know what they're getting into. And if they are that selfish, self-centered type of person, things could really get out of hand quick.
Yeah, I think
if they don't have somebody in their ear going, no, this is not good.
Yeah. And I think a lot of like lack of exposure and just lack of knowledge, they'll see a physique of an Olympian and say, I want to do that. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Is it attainable?
Right.
Maybe. Is it attainable with X, Y, and Z?
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah,
that's
and there's
a whole topic.
Yeah, there's a lot of girls that don't know what they're getting into, and before you know it, they're taking this, they're taking that, and then it's too late.
And listen, it's a part of the sport. It's always been a part of the sport. It's getting a little bit more and more and more, but and it's not like we're like anti that. No, I absolutely do it, but just know what the side effects are. Understand what your future entails, taking X, Y, and Z, and understand the health component of it. So it's just making sure that they understand all aspects of it, and then letting them make that decision,
Right. Yeah, exactly. I think I'm going to have you back and talk about that, because that's
totally. Yeah.
The effects with women. That's a topic that we could seem like we can get into.
Oh, absolutely. I got no filter with any of that. So
all right, good. So tell us about your business and what you do and when you started and how it's going.
Yes, like I said, we started in 2013 after I won that overall because I wanted to apply it for the everyday person. So we started Revolutionize Nutrition out of the house. We would meet people at their homes, at coffee shops, at Dunkin' Donuts, like even though that sounds ironic. And we saved our money. We were still working as full-time personal trainers at the time. In 2014, we put a down payment on a property in which we still own. That's a freaking nightmare. Don't even get me started with that topic. But we had that property. We were able to run Revolutionize out of that property. And then in 2018, we completely outgrew it. And now we're in a bigger location in like more of a medical building facility, which is really beautiful.
Very
in
nice.
Manalapan, New Jersey. Yeah, okay. It's been great. It's been great. And so we work with everyday people, and it's very diverse there. So we work with anybody from like stay-at-home moms, sedentary desk job workers, your average gym goers, to all the way to professional athletes. We've worked with WWE. Really? We've worked with IFBB. We've worked with reality TV stars. So it's been a very fun repertoire of clients that we have.
And your husband is your partner, or?
Yep. Yeah, he's my partner. So you guys run it together.
Like. Yeah, well, I've heard that plenty of times. I don't know how. I guess it's a special relationship.
Yeah, and we both have very different strengths. Like if you meet Randy, we are very, very different people, but it works because he's good at the stuff that I want nothing to do with, and I'm good at the stuff that he wants nothing to do with. So it's a nice balance there. Yeah. So we make it work. Doesn't mean it's not hard, but
yeah, no, any business like that's going to be difficult, especially one that is in the fitness industry, because there's loaded with personal trainers and online trainers and blah, 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 and so on and so forth. And I think the better ones are the ones like you have, where you're literally taking the person by the hand saying, okay, here's what we have to do. Because you know as much as I do that there are people that train people to compete or personal train, and it's like, here's your diet and I'll see you in a week. And it's
we're very hands-on.
Right.
And everybody that we work with is very different. So the majority of our clientele there is everyday people. And then our athletes is a very small niche that we do, right? So I tell them, like, I will mirror your needs. There's some people that are like, I'll see you at my checkup in a week. I'll come to Revolutionize, do our Fit 3D scan, have our meeting. See you then, no worries. Then we have other people that need that daily accountability. They need to be checked in on daily, which is fine, but I need to know these things. So communication is super, super important. I can't read people's minds. If you tell me what you need, I will deliver. But the one thing I will not do is spoon feed you.
Right. Well, it's difficult, and once again, I don't have to tell you this. There are plenty of people that that will pay for something and want to do something, and then you go over them like on a Monday and go, how was the weekend? And then they go, not very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We talk about like internal and external accountability. You know, there's things that I'm responsible for as a coach, but there's things you're responsible for as the client. And a lot of people don't want to hear that.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
They don't want to hear me because I'm a very like person, but like when I get down to it, you have responsibilities. Like I need to rely on you also. It's a team effort.
Yeah, so I can't be with you 24/7, and I take my hat off.
And I need to trust that they're doing what I tell them to do too.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And that's even more difficult, you know, and you could tell. I mean, I've been through this. Well,
you could tell.
You could tell. You can look at somebody and go, no, you're not doing what I told you.
I mean, the amount of times that people say, you know, I'm not seeing the results. I'm not seeing the results. I swear I'm doing it. I swear I'm following everything perfectly. And then like 6 months later, they come back and they're like, so I wasn't really doing it. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm like,
yeah, no, you could. But what blows me away is the amount of money they're paying for it, or that, you know what I mean? It's like you're paying me a lot of money to do this, and you don't want to do it, you know. But
I think a lot of people think if they just sign up for something that the results are going to come magically. Yeah. They're financially invested, but the rest of the investment isn't there mentally, physically. So forth.
What about when somebody tells you this is great? Oh, I want to work out, but I don't want to look like Michelle.
It happens all the time.
Yeah. What do you think? You're just going to open the door to the gym and you're going to look like Michelle? You know, it's like,
the amount of people that go like, you know, Michelle, you look great and everything because they don't want to offend me. Look great. But like, I don't want that. I go, I promise this will never happen to you.
Yeah. You're not it's unbelievable. Yeah.
Yeah. The eating, the training, the time. People forget about time and patience. Like I didn't look like this after my first year of training, after my second year of training, after my third. Our bodies are continuously evolving. To be honest with you, I peaked in 2017 and 2018. I'm not as big and as shredded as I was then, but that's because our bodies are constantly changing with what we do to it, you know?
Yeah. And especially as you get older, I've noticed myself, like the things I was able to, I'm 46 now. Okay. And the things I was able to do in my 30s and the body fat and the water and everything just came off. Now it's like, well, okay, I got to be a little bit more extreme in order to get in shape, but
everything changes.
Yeah, it is what it is. So where can people find Revolutionize Nutrition?
So like online?
Online,
online, revolutionizeusa.com. They can call us. If you just Google Revolutionize Nutrition in Manalapan, New Jersey, a ton of stuff comes up. Our website, we do a lot of content on social media. We're very, very active on social media. So people could DM us, email us anytime, and they'll be talking to me. I'm the one that's behind the scenes on all that.
Okay. I'm going to make sure that the website and the Instagram is on in the description area. So people could easily just click and go and talk to Michele.
Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. So I would say like when you first started, figure was the class the girls wanted to do.
The evolution of figure in 10 years.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Yeah. The figure girls then look like physique girls now. You know, I mean, reverse that. I'm sorry.
Reverse it.
Yeah, reverse that.
It's the evolution has just been mind blowing. And that for me, that's been really, really hard to keep up with, to be completely honest with you. And it's tough. It's tough.
It really is. And correct me if I'm wrong, if you think I'm accurate or not. I feel like other classes have kind of bumped figure to the side, if you will. Like wellness, people want to do wellness. Women's bodybuilding has kind of brought more people from physique into women's bodybuilding and kind of vice versa. I think figure is becoming a weaker class. I have a feeling figure is becoming a weaker class. I don't know, but for some reason, every girl wants to do wellness now. What's your take on it?
It's tough. And I think a big reason for that is the conditioning in figure is, I mean, it's unattainable without taking a lot of stuff. Like so I think people are dropping down because they're like, I don't want to do that to my body, or I don't want to go to that extreme. Not saying like you still need to do shit in wellness. Like, don't get me wrong, but I think what it's taking in that division has grown so much and drier and leaner and bigger and harder that many people are like, I don't want to. So I have been seeing a lot of that. Like even myself, I was considered dropping down a division because I don't want to push myself to that level with certain things. So that's been something that's been playing around in my head a lot, because I can't compete with these other figure girls without doing things that I'm honestly uncomfortable doing.
Right. Yeah. No, I don't blame you. And it happens to be true. The figure girls now are just if you look at figure girls today, professional IFBB top elite figure girls, they were bigger than the physique girls when physique first came out. Like Daniel and Bailey is nothing compared to,
they're bigger and they're harder and they're leaner. It's blown physique back when Dana Lynn was like, it's blown that out of the water.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
It's far surpassed that. So like I said, the evolution has been like pretty wild. And I mean, they're incredible. They're exquisite, but it's just been wild to watch it all change.
How do you deal with a person that wants to go on stage, whether it be a man or woman, and they shouldn't be there? Like you say to yourself, you say to yourself, I don't know why you're looking through rose-colored glasses, but one step at a time, because I've seen that plenty, especially in the NPC level.
Yeah. So there's different things I can talk about this. There's people who, I think they have body dysmorphia in the opposite way that most of us would talk about. So they think that they're huge and shredded when they're not. So I've seen that. I've seen people that have been at their best for them. So say that they lost like 100 pounds. I've seen people I've worked with people that lost 200 pounds. So they are going into this as something different, kind of like somebody would sign up for the New York City Marathon and just get through the finish line. It's a bucket list thing for them. I've worked with clients who stepped on stage wearing a bikini for the first time in their entire lives after losing like 200 pounds, because they were going on for something completely different. It was for them entirely.
Right.
And then we have people that, they're just not ready because they're just not following the plan. And we keep having to postpone their show date. But then me and Randy have to protect ourselves because we do like packages to the point that I'll cover you up to like 6 months. And then we worry about our off seasons and this and that. But anything beyond that, like I can't keep postponing it. And it ends up never happening,
Right. Yeah.
There's like a lot of different topics under that topic.
Yeah. When it comes to girls, have you ever run into this, which I'm sure you have? You tell them what to do. You tell them kind of like what they have to do. And instead of them not doing what they're supposed to do, they're doing more and going above an extreme. Like if they're supposed to do 1 hour cardio, they're doing 2. If they're supposed to do one, if they're supposed to eat this many calories, they're eating less, and then how do you deal with somebody like that? Well, it's more like an obsession.
Yeah. Okay. So I actually like that you said the word obsession. So I've had people that like ended up confiding in me saying that they're going beyond what I'm telling them to do. And we have to work on pulling them back. And that is not easy to do. It's not easy to do because I think more is better, and more is not always better. Sometimes the inevitable burnout happens. They make themselves ill. I am giving you a specific amount of food and training regimen and any cardio if needed. Some people actually didn't even need it, but I'm giving that to you for a reason. Like, I'm your coach. You hired me. Let me do my job, but you have to trust the process. And how many people doubt themselves and they don't trust the process.
Absolutely.
I mean, it happens to everybody.
Yeah.
But the obsession word that you mentioned, before anybody starts contest prep with us, they must start in our lifestyle nutrition program. During that time, I screen them, whether they know it or not. I'm making sure I'm not seeing any obsessive compulsive behaviors, severe mood swings, or any like psychological issues, severe body dysmorphia, making sure that they handle scale fluctuations with a sound mind, make sure that they understand, when you gain muscle, your weight might go up a little bit. There's a lot of things that I'm screening and I'm watching behind the scenes because they work with our nutritionists on that. I don't work with them. I oversee everything now. And if they're giving me any red flags, I tell them straight up, I go, this sport will make it worse. It will not make it better. It will get worse.
That's the first time I've ever heard that. And that is the most responsible thing I've ever heard a coach say.
Thank you.
And it happens to be true because a lot of coaches, and there's a ton of them, as long as you're giving them the money, they'll just, they'll just keep going. They'll just keep going.
Yeah. For me to be responsible for somebody to develop an eating disorder, or for an old eating disorder to come back up and show up, I would feel so much guilt and remorse for that. Health, internal health and mental health is extremely important at Revolutionize. We work in conjunction with a lot of medical professionals, psychiatrists, therapists that help with like all of that as well. So mental health is super important. And if that is not sound, this is not the sport for you. Definitely not.
Have you ever seen anybody implode? So what I mean by that is they become so obsessed that their actual private life implodes because nothing else matters except for the contest or getting in shape or whatever the case may be.
Dude, I've seen some crazy stuff happen. I got some stories. But when we work with anybody, when we start with them, I kind of sit with them and I say, this is what contest prep entails. These are things that you may experience during your prep. You may not, but I'm just giving you a heads up that these are things that people have experienced during their preps. And I also try to teach people the right balance for them. And everybody's definition of balance is different. I tell them, I go, still have your date nights with your husband. If your friends are going out to eat, you can join them. You just might have to make different choices.
Right.
So I try to teach people to kind of handle the life prep work balance. But I'm not saying that balance is 50-50, but I'm saying that there is wiggle room. And that's where me as your coach I'm here to help you. Like, okay, my friends want me to go out with them for dinner on Friday. What should I do? I'll help you. So you can go out, experience, have a good time, not obsess about the food, and not feel like you have to stay home and be introvert and ruin your social life either. But sacrifices still need to be made. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. What? Give us the worst story where you've seen something, not you don't have to mention names.
There's no names, but I'll tell you. I think the worst story was there was somebody who got so caught up in this world and, buying their Instagram followers, buying the likes, this and that, and trying to build their portfolio. And they had an amazing husband. This guy was great. Very, very supportive, very cool. And listen, I don't know what was really going on at home, but I ended up feeling I was becoming a marriage counselor. I would sit with them for hours trying to help them with everything. Mm-hmm. Long story short, she ends up having an affair with another athlete. So now her marriage was just going to shit. She's having this affair. He's having an affair with his wife, and it just got to this dark place. And I was like, I can't be a part of this. I can't know about this anymore. I'm done. And their life did implode around them, and they did succumb to a lot of really dark shit in this sport and bad people that were really bad influences on them. They are divorced now. They've gone their separate ways. But
did they have children?
One of them did, yeah. But the details around it, I was like, this is the darkest cloud I've ever been surrounded by. I can't do this anymore. And it was bad. It was bad.
Yeah. There is a dark side to the sport. There really is. And if you're not careful, if you're not careful, you could really fall into it. And I hate to say it, I think personally that the supplements are worse for the women in the long run. Yeah, right, exactly. Than the men. Yeah, especially for reproductive reasons.
100%. I mean, women, even if you're a natural athlete, women are just hoping they're not losing their periods, right? So because your body fat's getting so low. So even if you're not taking a single supplement, that is something you're already dealing with. Especially for these young girls, like if they plan on having kids, they got to be really careful with what they're doing. There are certain anabolics and PEDs that are a little bit more gentle on the system. And then there's fucking crazy stuff that you would never even think a woman in bikini wellness or figures should be taking.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if you ever watched my show before or listened to it. but I did a show with Jason Arns and
Oh,
yeah, well, he's always on. That's why I was at the show. I did a show with Jason Arns and Danny Broadhurst. Danny is top amateur. He's trying to turn pro this year at the Nationals. And we were talking about DNP and how crazy of a drug that is and where it came from and how devastating it is and so on and so forth. And I always heard of it, but they gave me an education on it. And it was it's basically originally used as an explosive. It was used as it was actually used in a French ammunition factory making bombs, and then they would use it to mine like diamond mines and so on and so forth. And the workers would be losing weight because they were inhaling the DNP and they didn't know why. And then a Russian scientist actually decided to use it as a weight loss drug. And
I did not know the history.
I swear to God. And then
holy shit.
Yeah, and then if it doesn't just spare body, it annihilates body fat, but it doesn't spare anything else. Once it's done with body fat, it goes on to organs and muscle and so on and so forth. And initially, if you use too much, you can die. Yeah. And people are still using it.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Dude, it's crazy. I mean, when I was hearing, you were hearing it in figure, but then you were hearing it in bikini that girls are taking tren. I was like, why?
That I don't get. That I don't understand at all.
Why?
I don't get it. I don't get it.
It was just so, back in the day, you heard about, a little clenbuterol, a little Anavar.
Right.
That shit is Tic Tacs now.
It's nothing. It's unbelievable.
I mean,
then you have a lot of it, I think is my opinion. A lot of it is this irresponsible social media influencers.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Like, I watched, Big Boy, and him and one of his other guys in his crew or whatever, they were taking this pre-workout and they added water to it, right? They just added water to the whole pre-workout and they were drinking it right before they were sharing it right before they went and trained. And I'm like, some 14-year-old kid is gonna fucking do that,
but they do.
I know. And then who's the other guy? Dr. Tony Hughes that says he could put 20 pounds on in 9 days. And then the kid wound up in the hospital. He was giving him like 5,000 grams of testosterone and all this growth. Yeah. And I'm like,
these things, some of these things are irreversible too, if you don't die, but some of these are completely irreversible, especially like we're talking about the women. These women are like cooking their ovaries and their uterus. Done. Right.
And then you have Ian Valier that goes on and says, I only take 750 milligrams a week. And everybody thinks he's lying. It's like, no, he's a freak of nature. He could. So I actually had Rob Harris from Muscular Development. Is that his name? Yeah, I think I interviewed him and we were talking about that. Actually, we were talking about that. That whole thing.
It's wild. I mean, the drug use with the women and the more muscular, what you never even would think of would be in figure. It's happening now. You got women in injecting, and I'm just like, I didn't even think that would ever be a thing.
Yeah.
But I have people that want to take things that far, and I need to tell them, like, first of all, I actually refer out for that stuff because I don't want my name on it. I say you deal, I'll just work with your nutrition and your training,
right?
But I tell them, I go, if you're gonna go that route, these are the things to expect. These are the side effects to expect. And these are the possible things that may be irreversible to expect. You need to know what you're getting yourself into, because most coaches out there are just going to say, take this. They're not going to tell you why. They're not going to tell you what it does. I know coaches that will not work with you if you do not take X, Y, and Z. And again, going back to social media, I think a lot of people do this because for the gram, I have 20 IFBB pros.
Right.
I have this, but they're only working with people who already have the right foundation, but are willing to go the extra mile to win that pro card, to chase that pro card and to chase the Olympia.
Yeah.
So again, totally cool. That's the lifestyle that they choose, as long as they're doing it for the right reasons. I think that's really important.
So let's talk about the opposite now. Let's talk about a person that comes to you, and because I've seen this a lot, which is the benefit of bodybuilding fitness. Somebody who is a mess, if you will, their life is a mess, and this gives them structure and guidance.
I know a lot of those too.
Yeah. So go ahead, you could talk on that.
And I think there is something beautiful in that. Again, as long as they are self-aware, they have the right perspective on everything, they're doing it for the right reasons, because this actually becomes mental health for them, where some people, it can become mental destruction. For some, it is mental health. They don't even, they straight up say, and they genuinely mean this. They're like, I don't even care if I don't place top 5. They're like, I need to have this for me. I need the structure for me. I need to know that I'm bringing my best package, despite whoever shows up on stage next to me, despite what the coaches or judges are looking for. You know, you stand in front of different judging panels, you might get different answers.
Absolutely. It happens all the time.
I tell people, I go, if that's something that's going to bother you, go do like powerlifting, go do something that you can measure, because the subjectivity of the sport can be tough. Being judged in front of thousands of people can be tough. But if you know you're doing this, a you against you versus you, which has always been for me, you're going on your stage and you're being your best. If that is translated into getting an award or to winning a show, awesome. And that was always my mentality. So every show I ever did, I didn't go to that show saying I had to win. I went to that show never looking at my competition. I don't sit and I browse Instagram. I don't do that. I don't look. I'm just focused on, what can I do now? What can I do to be better? What can I do to reach or attain the physique that they say they're looking for in my division? And for me, that mentality worked out. I showed up and I would win a show and I wouldn't win a show, and that was fine. I never got off stage angry or upset, ever. I got off stage.
Wish I could say the same.
Dude, and that's so rare. I would get off stage saying like, I fucking did it. And I think a lot of that is because I've dealt with a lot of really heavy stuff in my life, things that I don't wish upon anybody, things that I really wish I never had to face. And I was able to pursue something that I loved while I was having this ball of chain just like dragged on me. And I'm a very, very positive person. And as dark as things were getting around me, I kept going to be the best that I could be. So when I would get on that stage and then get off that stage, it was a victory for me, because I wasn't defeated before the stage even arrived. I wasn't defeated during my prep, when I could have been dragged into this black hole with other people many, many times. So I always get off stage like, I did it, fucking did it. And if I didn't win or if I didn't place, I'd say, all right, this is what I got to work on. Let's get back to work. That's it.
Why do you think that? Why do you think that this world attracts people with so many demons? Because that story is not uncommon. It's very common. And when you listen to the story I did with Nicole last night, Nicole Sullivan, she literally turned her life 180. I mean, really.
Same.
You know, why do you think that? Why do you think that? Because I've interviewed plenty of amateur and elite bodybuilders that said I was doing A, B, and C, and now I'm in this better spot. Why do you think that is?
I think you have different types of people, right? So you have some people that have faced addiction problems, and then they kind of translate into something like this, right? That's something that I've seen many times before. But then you have somebody like me who's just, I've unfortunately had to see and deal with some awful, awful things. And it really changed my perspective in my entire life. So I see bodybuilding as, like I said, a me versus me being able to triumph despite being against the odds. And also a lot of gratitude that I have my abilities, that I can do these things. And I say to myself every day, not in a morbid or a negative way, but I say to myself every day, I can wake up tomorrow and lose my vision. I can wake up tomorrow, have a blood clot in my leg and have an amputation. I have the ability to move and function the way I do every day. And that's not something that's taken for granted. I think there's something so beautiful in that. And I want to cherish that every day that I have on this earth, you know?
Right.
So that's what bodybuilding is for me.
I think I apologize.
No, it's a celebration of movement for me.
Oh yeah. I listen, there's a lot of positive that comes out of it, 100%. And like you said, if we don't have a balance, then it can get really dark. But
yeah, It never got dark for me. It was always my light. It was always my light.
Yeah. And that's one of the benefits. And I interviewed Donna Salib, who is a great woman's bodybuilder. She won the New York Pro this year.
Oh, yeah.
And I interviewed her, had her on 3 different times. And the first time she told the whole story, and she was bulimic. Mm-hmm. And I said, how do you go from being bulimic to being a world champion bodybuilder? Because everything revolves around food. Mm-hmm. And she basically said it was something that she had to really work on, but it was the structure that it was the structure of bodybuilding that helped her. And to me, that was the most impressive, because it's like, you have to put muscle on, you have to eat a tremendous amount of food, and you don't want to eat it. Not only do you not want to eat it, you don't want to digest it. You want to, I think with with the structure is huge. I think what men it is too, but a lot of times when I interview bodybuilders, it's not about. A lot of times they fall into bodybuilding because, I played football and I could kind of like the weights, or I was a wrestler and I liked the weights, or, and I kind of fell in love with the bodybuilding, and it kind of goes in that direction. Where women, it's like, it's the structure. It's the idea of accomplishing something, a bucket list, the sense of doing it on my own, so on and so forth.
Yeah. I think that a lot of women do it for a different reason. I'll be honest. We work with a lot of masters women who have had kids already and this and that. And they go, I'm finally doing something for me. I am in the best shape of my entire life at 50 years old, at 60 years old.
Right.
They're like, I paid my dues is what they say. They're like, I had my kids, my husband's fine, whatever, or divorced, whatever their story is. And they're like, I'm finally doing this for me, for my self-confidence, for structure, for goal setting, because they gave their entire lives to taking care of other people. They were always given to other people and putting themselves on the back burner. And now they're finally putting themselves first. And it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And not in a selfish way, but in a self-empowerment way, really.
Yeah. I mean, I think you'd have to, there's a fine line for that, right?
Yeah.
Like, there are people that say they're doing it for self-empowerment, and they're really doing it for selfish reasons, right?
Correct. But there's a very fine line.
But there are plenty of women that actually do that. I've met girls that have gone on to do women's physique, and beforehand they were very heavy, and they lost a lot of weight, and then they have this tremendous muscle on them now, and so on and so forth. And it's more of a empowering, like you said.
Yeah.
Okay. What's the future of Michele Frankel?
Anything, whatever the world throws at me next. So I am looking to compete later this year. I did start cutting. So I'm looking, I haven't chose the date yet. I have a couple that I'm like juggling around. So we'll see what how my body cooperates, and making sure the world around me doesn't like crumble. So that's coming up. Just building Revolutionize and taking care of all my people. Really. Okay. I'm like mother hen, just making sure everybody's taken care of and everybody's okay. And traveling, making time for my hobbies and making time to travel. Like, that's what I like to do.
Yeah.
Continue practicing my version of my work-life balance.
What kind of, what contest do you think you could do?
So as in like division, or what show?
What show? So I wanted to do the naturals again this year. I don't know if I'm gonna be ready for it though. I got a lot more body fat to drop for that one. But maybe November, I might hit a show in November. Okay, very nice, very cool.
To be determined.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, you got some time, so I'm going to ask you to do one thing. I am going to ask you to tell everybody listening and everybody watching, just like and subscribe to Serious and Silliness.
Oh, like and subscribe to Serious and Silliness. Get on that. I'm subscribed. So you got to.
Thank God. Good. I'm glad you are.
I got you.
Don't go anywhere, because I want to talk to you after this. But Michele, thank you very much for coming on, and I really, really appreciate it. It means a lot to me.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.